Now, a lot of you guys, you've listened to me for a long time, but there's a lot of new people out there. So I'm going to have to play a clip of a company that steers the atmospheric rivers. It's like 5 minutes long, but I'm going to go ahead and play this clip so people can get caught up on what's really going on with the weather and with these atmospheric rivers, how they get moved around, who's steering them. I'm just going to show you one of the companies tonight, but there's so many that we document. We document what the clouds look like. We can see when they are affecting things. They put the fires out. There was big fires going on in Tasmania back in February, and they used this very technology to steer the rain in there and put the fires out. It's all documented.
We can bring in the oceanic rain, and we need to be conscious it's not about delivering rain on land, it's about nurturing a rain system that can promote agriculture and protect the people involved. So in all cases we want to make sure we don't get flooding, but we can deliver timely rain in a gentle soaking manner into agricultural targets. Technology relies on a signal that we're able to generate that triggers a response from atmospheric patterns. So we're able to observe this using satellite meteorology, extensively available now to everyone who's got access to broadband internet. But we're able to utilize that signal sent in sequence to generate a incremental deviation in the flow path of these oceanic atmospheric rivers. So the source is the ocean, of course. The vapor precipitable moisture flow is in the atmosphere. The winds drive this with the pressure systems adjusting the path of least resistance, but our technology is able to interface that and hack into it, if you like, and make some micro adjustments to allow deviations to occur in the flow pathways. And this is how we broke the drought in Australia in 2005. This is how we put out the fires of Victoria from Black Saturday in 2009. This is how we delivered rain in the desert in Saudi Arabia in 2007 and snow for the first time in history in 2004 in United Arab Emirates. There's been other projects above the radar and some under the radar, but today for the first time we're putting our hand up in front of the media to say this is available. We're going to run this project here to break the drought in the Horn of Africa. We're meeting with Cabinet, Federal Cabinet for Kenya and the Prime Minister and other parties and authorities in the region. We've met extensively with United Nations teams and agencies, and we're planning to do this in the most careful manner. Firstly, to bring some gentle rain in to give food for the crop, food for the cattle and the livestock, so milk can be produced, so that human survivability can go up. Once that survivability's gone up, then we can look at more substantial rains that can be suitable for crop.
What is this technology?
Essentially, we're drawing oceanic rain systems that exist over the oceans into geographic targets, into our agricultural areas. The technology uses electromagnetics, so we're not interfering with the atmosphere or with the environment. We're not damaging it. We're not using chemicals fired through rockets like other technologies use. We use a very gentle but powerful technology, launching electromagnetics into the atmosphere to modify the flow of the weather system over the ocean and drawing it into a target. So to try and keep it simple, we establish some kind of link with a weather system, and once we've seen through satellite meteorology that we have that link, we're able to draw that system in incrementally towards the target, such as in this case the Horn of Africa.
Mahendra, you call this project the Global Rain Project. Why the Global Rain Project?
Well, let me just step back. Ever since the beginning of civilization, mankind has diverted rivers on Earth to wherever we wanted to practice agriculture. Now we look at the atmosphere. The oceanic, 90% of the rain, more than 90% of the rain falls on the ocean. True. It's only about less than 5% on Earth. So the 90% that is above the oceans, these are fundamentally atmospheric rivers. And just the way we harvested rivers on Earth, we should be harvesting now with new technology the rivers above the oceans and moving them to a target area. Now, why is it global? Global because climate is changing. We see the floods that are on, the droughts that are on. So weather is being modified by human activities and by natural phenomena. And today we have developed the technology, and I'm convinced that in 30 years we will be able to confront climate change with technology with which we can modify weather patterns. It's weather modification, because climate change has two elements. It gets hotter temperature and precipitation changes. So moisture patterns change. Now imagine when we get rain, temperature goes down. So when you think of climate change, which is hotter areas, and that's the challenge we have in sub-Saharan Africa, that it will get hotter. Many areas that produce crops will not be viable. So it is a global phenomena which requires global action, and that is why we are committed to put this in the humanitarian arena to begin with. And it should be governed and utilized at the global level by the global community.
All right, so there you go, man. They want to harvest the rivers of the sky. They want to divert the rivers in the sky, just like they do when they build the dams. You know, look at the damage they do to the ecosystem by building dams. You know, look what's going on in Australia right now. These fires are engineered. They're spraying the same particulates that they are everywhere else that's making fire accelerates. That's why the fires are burning so hot and so quick. You know, and I think what's his name was talking about how it's the same things that are in sparklers. Well, it's the same things that are in chaff, military chaff. It's all the same. I mean, we've got the ingredients that are actually in the biofuel. Not only is there sprayers that are hooked to these planes, you have the toxic biofuel that's being burnt in these planes. And you can see as the years went, the aluminum amounts from the JP5 biodiesel they used to use to the JP8. You know, when they were running the jet fuel A, there was zero aluminum. And now you're wondering why the skies are being filled with heavy metals, why the bees are dying from Alzheimer's disease. Well, look at the amount that's in there now, 9,360 parts per billion. You got the strontium that's gone up from only 12 parts per billion to 351 parts per billion. All this stuff is fire accelerants. Like I said, it's just like what's in chaff, in the naval chaff. You see sometimes a meteorologist will show you something on the radar, and they'll say, oh yeah, that small aircraft target spread a cloud of small, thin pieces of aluminum, metallized glass, fiber, or plastic. That's why we have all these tons of microplastics in our lungs, in our bodies, in the Morgellons. But here's the guy that used to run the Cy Blue. Both them guys you've seen in that clip have spoke at the UN. They do have a YouTube channel and a website. You just go to milesresearch.co. And if you scroll down through his feed, he shows all the weather modification that he's done. He also talks about the chemtrails, like, why are you guys spraying them toxic things in our skies when we have the technology to steer the atmospheric rivers right in where we want to? He's helped the farmers out. But like I said, he put the fires out in Tasmania in a short amount of time. I'm trying to get down to where he shows the tweet on that. And, you know, he talks about the bunker fuel operations out off the coast. He knows the weather modification companies that do the electromagnetics, the cloud ionization. They know that these particulates are poisonous. They know that it's killing everything. So right here, back in February 14th, here's an example of the material difference delivered through weather moderation in support of firefighting in Tasmania. So you can see the drought monitor. This was the forecast of rain for Tasmania during the fire. This was on the 31st of January 2019. This was the 8-day total rainfall after he did the electromagnetics. Look at the rainfall they got from in February 8th. So just 7 days later, The forecast was for no rain, and look at all the rain he brought in to put the fires out. So now you have to ask yourself, why are they not putting the fires out in Australia? Well, it's multifaceted. It's to bring in the smart cities. It's bring in the high-speed rail. You also have another company that uses a similar technique to steer the atmospheric rivers. This is called the Weather Generator Project out of the United Arab Emirates, enhancing rain, cleaning air pollution, destroying sandstorms and fog. These guys actually document everything they do. They got a YouTube channel. They show everything they do. And like they document it, man. Project Green Desert in the Middle East.